What's up? This is Zack Fryer, and you're now listening to Busy Works.
Yeah. Whoa. What the fuck is up, man? Yo, it's been a fucking while. Hello and welcome to the Busy Works podcast, your home for streetwear news, discussion, and shenanigans. I'm your host, Angry Black, here with the one, the only, Zack Fryer, aka Ineffable God, aka Streetwear Plug, aka Resell Master, aka I got Garden State Plaza on lock. These niggas don't got nothing on me. What the fuck is up, dog?
What's up? How are you?
Chilling, man, chilling. The government just took like $300 on my check for child support, so that's not fun. But
Sad day.
yeah, man, it's, when you have 8 kids, it's just like at that point, it's just I think back on all those times I could have pulled out but didn't. Headed out to LA soon for Complex Con and other assorted business.
Yeah, Thursday to Thursday.
Okay,
So
word.
good.
So is this your first time in LA? Or have you been out there before?
No, I've been out there a bunch. I have family out there, so like, even when I was younger, like we went every once in a while, like for the holidays. My grandfather lives out there. And then I went. The only trip I think I've taken there where like I actually made some moves like clothing wise or whatever was, it was around Thanksgiving time of last year. I think it was. I went to LA because we were having Thanksgiving out there. Maybe I'm remembering this all wrong. I don't really know, but oh no, I lied. It was like not this past summer, but the summer before.
So 2014.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah. I was working for Slam X Hype at the time, so they had me doing coverage of Agenda Long Beach. So I flew out to LA. I think I stayed with my grandfather and then went down to the trade show. And that was cool because like when you're a writer for one of the big blogs, there's obviously like a lot of perks of it. You're just kind of treated like royalty because everybody wants coverage and stuff like that. So it's always kind of fun to have pull. Yeah. And then that trip I met like Soulja Boy, which was like obviously
sailing
like,
team,
really cool.
Fuck Soulja Boy, gang.
It looks like they squashed the beef, but
I mean I don't know. But being so young and at that time I guess you were how old? You're 18 or 17 right now?
17.
So
I'll
you're
be 18 December.
All right, so you're 17. You're about to turn 18 right now. I guess at that time you were probably like 15, 16 or some shit like that.
Yeah, it was the summer after my freshman year of high school.
So being so young, especially, and freshman year of high school, I mean, you're still a little ass kid at that point for all intents and purposes. No offense, of course, but
it's all good.
How do people take you seriously? Like at that time as a writer, but now as a successful designer and someone that's doing a lot more than say people that are my age. I'm 23, or people that are older than me, like in their 30s, and still like struggling to get like any kind of basic support.
Yeah. I mean, I've always looked a little older than my age, so a lot of the time I think people just assume I'm older than I really am. Most of the time I try to keep my age kind of like out of things, especially business-wise, because I don't want people to kind of second-guess anything. But then additionally, like at this point, I think I've done so much that age really isn't much of an issue. And like back then, like with the whole writing thing, I don't think any company cared how old I was because I was one of the only writers for Slam X Hype at the time. I had companies like Bape. They didn't talk to any other writer except me. Sprite, they wanted me to roll out the campaign for them on Slam X Hype. Wow. VidLink, which is like a affiliate network, instead of going to the owner of Slam X Hype, came to me to present it to him. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, it said like on my bio on the website, I remember it said like the youngest member of Slam X Hype, and it said something about like catch me cutting the Supreme something stupid. But I think like a lot of people knew I was young, but it didn't really matter.
So this kind of segues into my other question about youth and shit. You just graduated high school this past spring, I guess, spring, summer, or whatever. Did you feel any like pressure to go into college? Like, was that a thing for you, or you were just like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna grind? Because you've been doing the entrepreneur thing, like I said, since you were like 15. I mean, I'm not even 15, but before that, since you were like in 8th grade in middle school and shit. So
yeah. Once I got into my freshman year in high school, like I realized that college probably wasn't gonna be the way to go. Like my freshman year of high school was the worst year of my life. Like, it was so bad. I don't even know how to describe it. But
well, if you don't mind me asking, can you share why? Like,
it was just like I couldn't do the whole school thing. Like, I went to class, I would fall asleep, I'd act out. Like, I never did any of my work. And like I test really well, so I was in all like the highest level
AP classes and shit.
They had like honors freshman year. There was no AP, but I was in all of those, and like it was just bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear to everyone. Like,
you're just bored as fuck.
I mean, I was just so angry to be there because there was so much for me to do outside of school. It just seemed so pointless. And it was to the point where I was like telling like my parents and stuff like, oh, I'm gonna drop out the day I turn 16. Like, the day I turn 16, it's done. Like, it's a dub.
Pull an ass pizza.
I mean, I don't know. And then like freshman year also is when I started getting a lot of opportunity outside of school. So it just, I mean, like I got the Slam X Hype job, I think the January of my freshman year.
So you were just already just grinding super heavy, and it was just not even in mind to like.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense. I was getting so many opportunities outside of school. I mean, like I think it was freshman year too. Like, one lunch, like I'm out for lunch and like young Gleesh calls me on my phone. I've never talked to him in my life. He called me on my cell phone. Hey Mo, it's Gleesh. You can come to New York right now. Like, blah blah blah. He pulled up his tour bus to Penn Station to meet me. Like,
holy shit.
Like, this was all happening. I think I can't remember what year the
pop-up shop
the
thing.
Kanye thing happened, but
that was 2014. That was 2014.
So that could have been my freshman year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff was happening. Anyway, so the school was very like aware of my business and aware that I fucking hated them. It got to the point where like my parents were having these secret meetings with like the head of guidance.
Oh shit.
And like the only reason I found out was because they were having one of their secret meetings and the head of guidance thought it would be a good idea like to calm me down. So I remember it because I was like sleeping in my biology class, which was like what I do. She woke me up. Teacher woke me up. Obviously, I'm going to be, like, in a bad mood. Like, I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
Said the head of guidance wanted to see me. I had no clue my parents were there. So when I got to the door.
You like, what the fuck do you want? Don't shit around.
Yeah, like, I saw my parents. Like, I was tight. Like, I was angry because it was like
shit.
they were keeping secrets. Like, it just seemed weird. Anyway, so because of that meeting, I think, like, that was what resulted. They made me see, like, a bunch of, like, specialists. Like, they wanted me to get a sleep study done. Like, they thought I had like a sleeping disorder. They had me see like all these psychiatrists, like all this stuff. And then after like hours and hours of these appointments, I guess they kind of just figured out that what I was saying the whole time, which was that I was bored, was true, and I had nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, because you were just not having it, essentially.
Yeah.
So when was it that like they gave you? Sorry to cut you off, but when was it like they gave you sort of like your freedom to kind of explore your extracurricular activities and shit?
So like sophomore year, the school put me in this program called Chila, which is no longer existent. But pretty much like the program was for kids that really like came from hard backgrounds and they might be in their 20s still trying to finish high school. They might have kids, might be in gang, whatever it is. Anyway, so they put me into that program, but instead of me kind of like playing catch up like the other kids, they're like, it'll help you get forward. So sophomore year was, it was a really interesting year because I was in classes. I remember the story I always tell to kind of like paint the picture is, it was the first day of school. It was my first class of the program. Someone came in on crutches. They had like a full leg cast and they were on crutches. So me being me, like I asked, yo, what happened? And he got shot like a couple weeks before. Shit. So it was just like very surreal.
So this is like kids coming from, like you said, definitely more rough background.
Definitely.
For reference, I mean, I know, but for the viewers out there, you're from Maplewood.
Yeah.
So Maplewood is like a sort of small town in New Jersey. Not necessarily like super affluent, but it definitely has its parts where there are, it's like a lot of people that are middle class working in New York, and they send their kids to like the public high school, which is really good and shit. So
the way I always describe it, like to paint the picture, is like it's a suburb, but on one side of the town it borders some of the richest towns in New Jersey, being like Short Hills, Millburn, and then on the other side of the town you're bordering Irvington, which is like a very urban and pretty poor. So you get kind of like a crazy mix of kids, and this school is super diverse.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see like everything.
And then seeing that, did that, seeing the kid on crutches, I mean, did that kind of affect your mind state going forward of like what you needed to do that to solidify your motivations? Like what did that like program like do for you, like in terms of like what you're doing now and like what you were doing back then?
I mean, the program just gave me like a lot more freedom. Like I developed a really good relationship with my guidance counselor, who her job was just to look over the kids in that program.
This wasn't the same guidance counselor from before, right?
No.
Okay.
No, different. This guidance counselor I had sophomore year until I graduated high school, and she's like a big reason that I graduated a year early. Like she was just a big advocate for me.
Oh, so you weren't even supposed to graduate until next year?
No, I'd be in school right now. I only
shit.
went to high school for 3 years, but I have like my diploma.
But so you technically would have been okay. I see. Damn, man, that's fucking wow.
So like that year, like if an opportunity, like I remember when the Young Gleesh thing happened, I ran into the school. She wasn't there, but it was to the point where I like remember like writing a letter, like sliding it under the door of her office. Like I have to run out. Like a big opportunity came up. Like I'd really appreciate if you cleared my cuts.
Yeah.
And like it was that kind of thing.
Oh, that's like your attendance kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean my attendance was horrible. Like,
I mean, I'm sure.
I mean, even my junior year, I wasn't in the program, like, because they got rid of it, which is really messed up.
Yeah. Was it like a funding thing or like what happened there?
I mean, that's what they said it was, but the issue was they were actually getting funding from the state for that program specifically.
Okay.
So it doesn't really make any sense, and they lied about it. I mean, like, for someone like me, it's not super important. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got special treatment in a sense. But those other kids in that program really, really, really needed that program. And that was the only chance they had at graduating high school and maybe going to college. So it's just really sad.
So now what happened to them? Are they just back in like school, or are they just,
Most of them, like a couple of them were able to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them would have had to do, if the program is still around, like maybe a semester the following year. But because they got rid of the program, they would have had to do another full year. So they all dropped out because they, they had to work, take care of their family, whatever their situation was. So that was real sad.
So they
to
essentially
see.
became like an unfortunate casualty of circumstance, or not even circumstance, of whatever the fuck happened.
Yeah,
that's fucked up, man. So kind of coming back to being young thing, and in terms of like your peers, I mean I know how fucking high schoolers and teenagers are. I was there one time. It could get very, I don't think petty is necessarily, or like catty is necessarily the word, but people do a lot of comparing. Even on the outside, people do like a lot of comparing, like, oh, this person's doing this person doing this. Like, have you like noticed, like, even before you were really successful, like people noticing like what you're doing and then trying to like ride off your wave, or like being envious of the shit you're doing? Like, can you talk about more about like the peer experience, like being like a young entrepreneur?
So I started the brand in 8th grade just by like printing some t-shirts.
And this is Ineffable.
Yeah, okay. I called it Ineffable Clothing Co. I came up with Ineffable. I didn't know what Ineffable meant, but what I was doing, I was going on thesaurus.com and like looking up words that I thought would make sense for a brand, and then looking for synonyms. Mm-hmm. So I came across Ineffable, which one I really liked the way it sounded and looked, but the meaning of it is like indescribable or too good for words. And I was like, oh, that's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want your clothes to be ineffable? You know what I'm saying? So it said, the first shirt, I remember it was like a seal of New Jersey. Then on top of it said Ineffable Clothing Co. And then it said like straight out of Jersey on the bottom. So I think I made 10 of those. Sold them just to kids in the school, like my close friends. To go back to your question, sorry. So that was like middle school. Mm-hmm. When that summer hit 8th grade into 9th grade, I think I was in LA for a while. I was just away from home. Middle school, I was super social. And then once that summer hit, I kind of just like stopped socializing. Didn't hang out with anybody the whole summer. Didn't talk to them, whatever. So once freshman year hit.
Was that like a business kind of thing? Like you were just kind of focused on like.
I mean, yeah, I was just busy. And like a lot of them, that's when a lot of them kind of like their days just revolved around smoking weed. They were just doing really unproductive things. Like it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? So then when freshman year hit, like I remember I wasn't super like antisocial off the bat.
Yeah. Like
I still had lunch with kids like for most of freshman year from what I remember, but I wasn't hanging out with anybody outside of school. And then like sophomore year and junior year being like my last year of high school, I did not socialize at all. I ate lunch alone. Like, and that wasn't because like I couldn't hang out with people. It wasn't that. Like, it's weird. Like, I was popular in the school in the sense that like
people knew who you were.
Yeah, definitely. But like not a lot of people like.
You could say that they were your friend or nothing like that.
No, like I didn't really have like many friends. It's not necessarily that I couldn't have friends. I just didn't really want to. Yeah, I was so busy. Like I'd work during lunch, like bring my laptop to school. I was working during class on like outside of school stuff, like my entire sophomore junior year. Like a lot of kids, I forget if it came freshman year or sophomore year, but like a lot of kids talked shit that were like in the same grade as me. I'm still not really sure why.
I mean, that's just people. That's
it was whatever. I think like I don't want to take credit for it, but like there are definitely like a lot of like little like t-shirt hat brands that kind of like popped up out of Columbia that were like kids that would, you know, me ask questions and like say they've been following me, this, that, like, so maybe like I influenced them a little to like start something. I don't know, but there was definitely just like a lot of weird tension and like nobody really knew much about me either. So like kids had these crazy like perceptions in their head. Like nobody would, if people had a question about me, they would never ask me. Like that didn't make any sense.
Sort of knew you.
Yeah, so there was so many like crazy rumors and this and that. It was just so annoying. Like I was just trying to mind my business and like I didn't go to one high school party, like literally not one.
Damn. Not really missing shit, but
yeah, like I don't know. It still is uncomfortable, like seeing kids from the high school like around the town. Like I just feel super uncomfortable because I don't know like what this crazy perception.
So
in their
with that in mind, were you like drawn more to the? I mean, most of your shit was your work was internet based, like, and you kind of gained your following, I would assume, from the internet. So now, this is kind of. Did you feel more comfortable? Do you like feel more comfortable on the internet? Is that like a place that you would rather go to find like-minded people rather than dealing with people like in real life and shit? Like,
I mean, like all the like-minded people that like I surround myself with, like none of which really are from school. Like, like my only friend, like throughout, his name's Ben. Like I hang out with him all the time, and he's like super motivated, and it makes sense. Then like the other people I actually hang out with in real life that like I've met them other ways. A lot of them are older. And then I have a lot of friends that I've never even met in real life that like I know over the internet. But the thing was like from freshman year, like I had no support from my town, like my high school or anything. I don't know if I was necessarily looking for it, but regardless, I didn't get it. Like I never got a sale in the school. I mean, nobody even like, it's weird because like the whole school pretty much was like following the brand and stuff on social media. Like even to this day, like if I go in my analytics, it's so weird. It's like
all Maplewood.
It goes New York, Los Angeles, London, Maplewood, South Orange. Like it goes from like 3 of the biggest cities in the fucking world to like 2 little towns.
Fucking and Maplewood for reference. Maplewood, South Orange are essentially the same thing.
Yeah, they share school. Like it's the same school district. So I think because I wasn't getting any support locally and like I was getting a lot of support when I'd post my stuff online, I just kind of gravitated to that. I never focused on wanting local support. I didn't really care. I still don't.
So is that not important? I mean, at all? Do you feel like just because I feel like growing organically, especially on any level, it kind of starts from home, but you've kind of taken the opposite approach. So, I mean, now that you've kind of said like the local people they're not even really fucking with me anyway. Like, is that just an aspect of your business model that you're just not taking into account at all? Like,
I mean, like it's really cool when someone locally like hits me up and wants to buy something. It rarely happens, but when it does, it's like really fucking cool to me. Like, or if I get an order off the website and like the shipping address is around here, I feel like some of the younger kids, like not my grade, but like
kids that are like in freshman,
sophomore. Yeah, like I feel like they've started to really like fuck with it. And that's because I think a lot of them met me. You know what I'm saying? Like they never heard like all this stuff about me that maybe like kids my age have heard from other people. Like they just know me for me. So that's really cool. Like when they support, there's like a little group of them that tend to like buy stuff, which is sick.
So do you like mentor them too? Like when you can? I mean, obviously you're busy, you have shit to do, but do you like take time out to like mentor them and shit?
I mean, like, Sometimes I've been trying to do it less and less, but like sometimes I still do like the sneaker thing on this side just to make some extra money if I need it.
And that's the sneaker reselling and shit.
Yeah, so like sometimes I'll hire them to come like camp with me, and like when we camp, like if they have questions about whatever, like I'll answer it. A little group of them, they have like a vintage business going where they like go thrifting and then sell stuff off Instagram. So I mean, like if they ever have questions about that, like they know they. And another thing that I just kind of thought about was like when these little brands popped up out of the high school, like I said, they were making like t-shirts, hats. People were buying it because, you know, it was their friends, whatever.
Yeah.
One, I wasn't really friends with anyone. I wasn't really embracing anyone. I wasn't following any. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of have to, like, give love to get love, and I wasn't giving any, so
yeah,
it's kind of hard to expect it back. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, once freshman year hit is when I started doing cut and sew collections. The school I went to, it's not really fashion forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, the kids are wearing Sperry's, you know.
That kind of shit.
I mean,
it's
like,
a suburb, so.
Yeah, like, you had the real preppy kids. So they were into their, you know, Vineyard Vines, their Sperry's, whatever.
Well, speaking of Vineyard Vines, you did that, the Suburb Sucks t-shirt. I know that was a big hit, too.
That still, to this day, is the, like, I don't want to say it's the most well-known design I've done, but numbers-wise, it sold the most.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to throw a picture up on screen for you guys so you can see that shit. But, like, looking back, I was just on the Instagram not too long ago. And like, even as recent as maybe, like, a couple months ago, there's still people commenting, like, yo.
I still get emails probably, like, once a week at least
son?
that, like, ask. I had someone DM on Twitter, 2 days ago, like, asking if I had one. Like,
would you ever do a reprint just
no.
for no?
I sold enough, and like it's so corny. Like, I hate that design. I'd never wear it myself.
Oh my
like,
god, dude!
It would be horrible if I did it now. It'd really hurt the brand.
Yeah.
But like if I put out another 200, I could sell them in a week. Like, I know that, but I would never do it.
Just cause, okay, I feel you. So a little bit earlier, you had mentioned, you know, smoking weed and all that shit was just kind of like regressive to your progress. So. Do you do any of that? Like, no.
No, I'm pretty like straight edge, but yeah. I remember like I think it was in 6th grade. So I've always like looked older, therefore like I've hung out with older people as a result. So I remember in 6th grade I tried weed for the first time. It was also my last time. I just didn't like it. It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
And then by the time like kids were getting into it in like 8th grade, I was already like, that all shit's dumb. Like I tried that. Ass. I never liked it. And then the whole drinking thing, like I've just never tried it. I don't really
care for it.
I don't see a reason to. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not my thing.
I feel like, I mean, that's the stance that I feel like a lot of very successful people share, where, I mean, and coming from somebody that does both those things, like, sometimes that shit really does kind of fuck with your mind.
I know so many kids who, like, their whole day revolves around it. Like, I have nothing against it. Like, I never hate on someone. Like, I'm around people that smoke weed all the time. I'm in the studio with rappers, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I'll never, like, put them down. But there is something about it. Like, I think if your life is revolving around it, something's wrong. Like,
no, I mean, weird. Definitely, it's kind of like an escape thing, just because, I mean.
But like, I mean, like, these kids plan their fucking schedule, like, plan their day around
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's just not progressive. I mean, I don't want to, like, delve too far into that, but I completely understand, having been in that position and seen firsthand what that shit really does to you. Like, I mean, if you abuse it, of course, I mean, weed isn't really going to turn you gay or anything.
I think I'm around it probably more than the kids that actually partake in it. But it just, like, I have my dad, I think he asked, like, a long time ago, you know, I go to different events, whatever, and, like, I'm around a lot of stuff, so he asked, like, oh, you know, don't you feel kind of, like, pressured if it's, like, a celebrity, whatever, like, offering? I'm like, no. I remember, like, I forget it was Rocky. It might have been A$AP Rocky, like, you know, try to pass a blunt.
It's you want to say?
It doesn't matter who it is. Like, I don't care. And a lot of the time, like, people would be surprised, like a kid my age. They'd probably just say yes no matter what, you know what I'm saying? But, like, a lot of the time, if you just, like, stay true to who you are, like, people recognize that, you know what I mean? Like if you, like, refuse something, they like, have respect for that.
Because everybody else around them is yes men, and then you're like
100%.
Like, I'm not going to be that guy. Like,
yeah.
This is kind of like sidetrack, but what do you attribute like the boom in like streetwear? Because mind you, 2014 there really wasn't this many heads on that shit. Like, it's not like streetwear was some like kind of underground thing, but now like you would go into a high school and I feel like 2 or 3 years ago you wouldn't see anybody wearing like Gosha or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And Gosha is relatively like mainstream now, but you know back then nobody really knew who the
It's
fuck
still
Gosha
really
was.
new.
But now you could walk into like any high school and everybody's decked out in Supreme, Gosha, Bape, whatever.
I think people honestly just discovered the secondary market. Like, I remember even with Supreme, like, I guess it would have been like my freshman year, 2014 even. Like, it wasn't hard to get. I remember like getting a box logo T-shirt, 20th anniversary box logo. At like 4:30 p.m. I came into the city after school, was waiting in line, got it. So it like still wasn't.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, like I don't know. I really think that people discovered the secondary market. It's kind of appealing to own clothes that retain their value.
Yeah.
Like even for me, like I look at clothes as an investment. Like it is hard for me to spend like a ton of money on clothes for me to wear, but if I know, hey, I can wear it a million times and it's probably still gonna be worth what I spent, then
I'm more inclined to buy this than like
definitely, because I'm not just throwing away money.
Yeah.
You know. So I think people kind of just discovered that, and then because of that secondary market, it created this hype because you know everything was selling out. And there's something to be said about like having something that you think nobody else is gonna have in your school, and this like that's why I started the brand in the first place in 8th grade, because I was getting into sneakers and clothing in 8th grade. That's when I became like interested in it, and like I was getting, you know, I remember like getting my first pair of Jordans. It was in 8th grade. I was so excited.
What pair was that? What pair was that?
They were the reverse Concord 11 lows.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I remember getting those and showing up to school with them, you know, probably like the Monday after the Saturday release.
Yeah.
And like just really thinking I was flexing on everyone, and there was this other kid in my grade like wearing them.
Had
I was
the same
fucking
pair,
tight.
and you're like looking at each other like, dun dun.
Yeah, I was so mad. It just ruined my like whole mood. So that I think that was like one of the reasons I also started my brand, because I wanted to know when I was wearing something that I wouldn't run into someone else wearing it, and like I thought a lot of other people would enjoy that feeling.
So now this is again back in high school, so this is still like ICC at the time, but you recently rebranded completely into Ineffable, like the full word.
Yeah.
And so how did what was the transition for that? Like how did you were like, this is time for ICC to die, and like Ineffable is now the move? Like,
yeah, ICC, like when I first started using ICC, it was pretty early on, probably like the summer going into freshman year. ICC just standing for Ineffable Clothing Company.
Yeah.
Because that was so long to print on shirts, so I was just like, oh, I'll shorten it to ICC. So I thought it was cool. It looked cool. People seemed to like it. But then when I started becoming kind of like more business minded, I realized that using ICC made no sense. You would never, if someone searched ICC on Google right now, you would never find a small clothing brand. You'd find the International Culinary Center. You'd find the International Cricket Council. I mean, there were a fucking million huge organizations, that were ICC. So like, there was that. On top of that, because it was just ICC, I had to add a word after that, because you can't grab ICC.com. It's a $20,000 domain or whatever. So I was like, oh, I'll just call it ICC Streetwear, because it's streetwear.
Yeah.
That once I like grew out of my freshman self was like, wow, it's really corny to put the word.
I don't want to say it, bro. I don't want to say. I was getting ready to say like, yeah, that's a little corny.
It's like looking back at it, it's really cringeworthy. I didn't know better. You know what I mean? So it was something I always kind of had in the back of my head. I rebranded right before the summer collection, which is the last collection I released. And that was the first collection with the rebranding. That was with the pop-up shop.
Okay,
yeah.
And for those that are unaware, Zach did a pop-up, and the god Jewels was there, and that's when you released at Stronghold.
Yeah, in Bloomfield.
And then do you want to just like say what items you released, like the boxy shirt, like what else came out there?
So it was like this boxy tee in 3 colors, 2 different pairs of sweatshorts. One was like a knit, and the other one was just French terry. 2 colorways of a satin bomber jacket, 2 colorways of a French terry kimono, and then I did like a wool jacket that had this huge 15-inch tall embroidered design on the back. So that collection. So that was like by far my best collection yet, and quality wise, it was a huge step up. Yeah. So I was like, oh, it really makes sense for me to start using Ineffable now, because people will be able to see the difference and tell the difference when they wear it. So I really wanted like people to know like, oh, like now it's Ineffable. Now this shit is really good quality.
Yeah.
His designs have progressed. His production has progressed. Everything's kind of progressed.
So now that we're talking about your dedication to the Ineffable now, can we see the tat?
Yeah. Where do I?
Just lift it up for us. Lift it up for us. If you want to stand up too, stand up. Look at this shit. Look at this shit, son. That's fucking dedication right there, yo. Where are you guys at? Is a face tattoo next?
No.
You're not feeling it?
I almost want to, like, I don't think my following's big enough yet, but, like, I'm definitely going to have a pop-up shop in the future where if you get, like, the logo tattooed on you, I'll pay for it.
Oh, dude.
I had a guy hit me up, like, someone that, like, buys a lot from the brand and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, after I put it on Snapchat, he hit me up and was like, I'm thinking about incorporating the logo into a sleeve. And I was like, honestly, like, I'll cover that piece.
How was that moment for you, like?
It's crazy, honestly.
And were there similar moments like that when you took like smaller victories? Like I remember like seeing some of the shit that you were doing, like when you had the billboard in Times Square. You said briefly that you had given Kanye one of your jackets. I remember that was like a huge thing too.
Yeah.
Like now, are those like comparable moments for you? Like, was there any like big special moment in the timeline of the brand that was like, damn, like this is fucking real? Like,
I think the craziest moment. It wasn't with a celebrity. It was actually, I remember, I think it was my freshman year. We were doing a photo shoot in Soho because that's what you did at the time. So there was like a big group of us like shooting. We finished up the shoot. We wrapped up the shoot. We were like right across the street from the Apple store in Soho. So that's green and
they're Bape and shit.
Whatever. Yeah, so that's funny you said Bape because so like there were like two groups of us splitting off. So one group was leaving. They were walking down towards Bape. We were still standing on the corner. I hear, yo, Zach, you're not going to believe it. Look. I turn around. There's a woman walking out of Bape wearing one of the hats I made. Like a random woman, never seen her in my life. So like I ran up. Like,
was that the Lafayette London hat? I think, or who was wearing that hat? But whatever. So she was wearing that hat, and you ran up to her.
Yeah, it was a bucket hat that had like this sublimated rose design on the underbrim, and then like around it, and then it said ICC.
We'll throw that up on the screen for you guys.
So I like ran up to her, like, where'd you get that hat? And like, you know, I was a guy running up to a woman, so I think she thought I was just like pressing her or whatever. I can't remember if she had headphones. Anyway, she like didn't respond. Like I was like that's my brand. Like,
yeah.
She was like, oh, like I bought it off this website, and I was like, that's my fucking website. So she like took a selfie with me, and it was just like, it was so cool.
Damn, man.
Like that was more special than like any like,
because that was more of a personal moment, like a connection with somebody. Like,
yeah,
I oh my god, like. This is somebody like really fucking with me.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, like, there's cool connections that I made with like rappers, this, that, but like that was.
So now that we're talking about the Wi-Fi bomber, there was a whole incident. I don't know if it came at anything of it where you saw that Fool's Gold had like basically like gypped your design essentially. Yeah. And that's been like a general motif in terms of like the industry where you have people like fucking Zara, H&M, what was the big one that happened recently? Urban Outfitters and shit. Essentially just stealing designs just straight up from like young creatives and people that don't really have the means to really like pursue legal action or nothing.
Yeah.
So to that end, do you think like there's anything that young people like yourself can do or like smaller brand owners can do to like press these people or like really like get their dues, because that's like mad fucked up?
I mean, honestly, like realistically, there's not much you can do. Especially as a small brand. When Hudson stole one of my designs.
Oh, the credit card scam.
Yeah, I did go to take legal action against Hudson. But the only way a lawyer would pick up the case was if it was a class act suit with every small designer
Yeah.
that Hudson's ripped. That was the only way it was worth it to them to pick up the case. So that's really tough. In regards to the Fool's Gold thing, never took legal action. But one thing I can say is, like, as a small brand, if someone rips your stuff that's huge, just use it to leverage your sales. I remember hundreds of people commenting on the Hudson post. Hundreds. And I didn't have a big following.
Yeah.
I don't know, people really came together. There were hundreds of people commenting on a post where they posted a picture of the hoodie, like tagging the brand, like cursing at Hudson.
Like, yeah, fuck you guys. Like.
Yeah, so I just say use it to leverage your sales.
Mm-hmm.
You know, use it to leverage more of a following. Like, clearly, if these, I mean, it was crazy with the Hudson thing because you could walk into any mall and find it.
It's there. Like.
Yeah, so I think that really showed that this, like, my brand and designs had potential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because these huge stores were buying it. That's my design. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's cool. Yeah. You know.
It's the little things, really. Like over. I guess the big moments.
The Fool's Gold thing, I was tight about because it was like, come on, like.
It's like let's go with that.
There were there's like a Fool's Gold artist that follows me like on my. It was just
also, it was like pretty obvious. Like you.
It was super obvious. I remember like right when it happened, I was with Jazz Cartier and I was in LA. Mm-hmm. He's really on the come up. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He was on a Hypebeast cover. Like he's getting big. I was with him and like I showed him and he was like, even he was tight. Mm-hmm. He was like, that's bullshit.
So back to the clothes and shit. You got a collection coming out very soon. This is the 2016-2017 fall winter collection. Yeah. And you're wearing some pieces right now. Actually, can you? Yeah. Do you wanna talk about it? Like, if you wanna stand up too, show off. Like, tell us a little about like the materials, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So, the hoodie and the flannel are part of the first drop, which will be November 13th. Okay. So the hoodie, it's 380 GSM French terry cotton. It's a really nice knit. Damn. And then it has like the tonal embroidery on the chest, little like detail stitching. It's kind of like this like boxy, little bit oversized fit. It's just cozy. Like the hood is the perfect size.
In lieu of drawstrings, I guess too.
No drawstrings. Yeah, I've never done drawstrings on any of my hoodies besides like the Scammer hoodie, but that was just printed. And then the flannel. This is like probably one of the most special pieces in the collection. It's this patchwork flannel, so it uses 3 different patterns, the yellow, and then you can see like the grid, and then the more tartan plaid that's red based, which you see like here and here. Yeah. And then on the sleeve, it runs onto the back. I can turn. But like, I definitely am not the first one to do like a color block flannel. Like, I'm not taking any credit for that, but I really think I did the best job at it.
Listen, man, I told you this, but even before you came on, like that was one of the pieces I was really fucking with, especially and the denim trucker with the flannel stripe thing.
There's another colorway of that's not in the lookbook that I love.
Well, let's talk about the lookbook real quick. Actually, you had Bloody Osiris in there, who's upcoming. I don't know, one of those people. Let's say influencer. And in the past, you've used a lot of influencer marketing in terms of Mike the Ruler, Lucas Sabat, who's like a big model, and these are like big like Soho kids or whatever. So, do you feel like influencer marketing and like using these people in your lookbooks has like is important in general? Like, is like the whole influencer thing just a charade? Like what do you feel about influencer marketing?
I mean, in regards to like those lookbooks you mentioned, I don't even think of those as much as influencer marketing. I've done influencer marketing with other people, you know, when I release a collection to show love to people, give them free clothes, whatever. They post it, tag it. That's influencer marketing to me. You know what I'm saying? In regards to the lookbooks, I mean, each one was kind of like an individual case. Obviously, it's cool to see, you know, these people, a lot of people fuck with them. And it's cool when someone that a lot of people fucks with you. You know what I'm saying? So Luca was the first kind of like big model. It was the first shoot I've ever done. I shot it myself. I'm trying to think how it came about. I can't even remember. But we were friends like at the time. We were hanging out pretty regularly, and it just kind of happened. Like
very organically.
Yeah, like he just wanted to do it. I met him at V Files and we shot it. And then the other person that's in the same lookbook, Walter Pierce, he was kind of like the face of Hood by Air at the time. Like, yeah. But another friend of mine just brought him, and like I didn't think he was gonna like model, and he asked, he was like, "Do you have an extra?" I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, I'll do. And Luca and him knew each other. So it was like this little reunion. So they did the shoot together. So that's how that one happened. Tight. And like that shoot, like that didn't get me any attention. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was cool. And it's still cool. Like you're talking about it now. Like people always bring it up. With Mike, it was the same kind of thing. Like, it just was cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Mike was interesting. Like, he stands out. You know what I mean? Like, all these people really fit what I wanted the brand, like where I wanted to go and where I wanted it to go at that time.
So now, does Bloody kind of fit where you're at right now?
Yeah. So with this lookbook, I knew, like, before I shot it, that I really needed someone that can show people where I'm going with this brand.
So was it his edge really? Because he's like, as a character, from what I've observed, because of the alleged affiliations and whatnot, is he has this kind of certain charisma, is what I like to say, that you kind of notice. And even from the lookbook shots, I'll post a few in the video right now. You kind of see it's like wow, like this is hard. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, I really wanted this collection it stands out from anything I've ever done. I think a lot of people will agree with that. And having him model is just another way to, like, it just made sense. I mean, like, I explained it. I had a whole press release go out, obviously, like, pushing the lookbook to blogs and stuff. And I remember texting the photographer. After I set it up with Osiris, I hit up my photographer about the lookbook, and he asked me, you know, what's your inspiration for it? What's the vibe you're going for? So you could plan for it. And I said, honestly, like, I've always really been inspired by this, like, hood rich mentality. And I really think that Osiris has it. Yeah. And you can see it. And he talks about it. And he shows it. I mean, like, the fact that he's wearing Rick Owens cargos with his Uptowns. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can wear a Hader Ackerman hoodie with a do-rag. Yeah. To me, that's like this real cool hood rich style. Hood rich meaning, like, you may not come from this background where you have all these luxuries, where you have all this money.
I'm getting money and shit.
But you're going to do what you can to flex. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are those people that, like, barely have any money to their name that take, like, this horrible lease offer on an Escalade. That's cool. You know what I mean? It's always really inspired me. And, like,
the flex, essentially. And that was just I mean, if you seen the images.
And his style also, his style is so unique. And, like, I really want this brand to be unique. And it just made a lot of sense. He's so young. He's such a go-getter. And, like, he'll wear what he wants. And clearly people like it. And that's kind of how I want this brand to be. I'm not going to copy anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really want to stay in my own lane. And hopefully you guys, like, fuck with it. You know what I mean? And, like, people don't realize, like, the whole lookbook was really fucking planned. Like, that studio, I didn't just get a studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at it, it's these raw brick walls, which give this real, like, hard, like, hood kind of feeling. And then you have these, like, unbelievably expensive patent leather couches. You know what I'm saying?
He's
like,
just, like, posted on it, like, word. Like,
yeah.
He's just on that shit.
Like, the whole thing just made sense. And there was a lot that went into that lookbook. And additionally, like, it wasn't like I just hit him up, like, yo, want you to do this lookbook. I
got some bread for you.
No, it wasn't like that at all. It's like, I've always had a lot of mutual friends with him. I remember meeting him before he was kind of a thing. He came to a show in Newark. He's real close with my boy Splurge. Splurge has a song called Jerome Jamal. Jerome Jamal is Osiris and what's his boy's name? I always space out. Anyway,
no idea, but
that's who the song's referring to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people that are really close to him. I met him before, whatever, this, that. So when I was trying to come up with the right person for the lookbook, I had a small list. That was at the top of my list.
So it wasn't just a thing where he's like popping now and like, oh, like I'm just gonna like ride that wave. It was more of a thing where you like knew who he was.
Yeah.
You had a connection to him and he perfectly fit your motif. Like,
it really fit. And like the few people I had on that list really fit. Obviously, it helps to have someone that's recognizable to others. You know what I'm saying? Right. Clearly, that's a thing. But so then, you know, I had someone swing me his phone number. I texted him without saying anything. I just sent him pictures of the clothes. They're just laying on my floor in my room. I want to see what he thought of them. I'm never going to have someone model my clothes that wouldn't actually wear them. That's really important. You know what I mean? I would never put anyone in my clothes that doesn't genuinely enjoy them. And he really fucked with some of the pieces. Like, genuinely fucked with them. He asked me at the end of the shoot,
Can I keep them?
Can I have this flannel? I'm going to wear it. This shit's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, Osiris is real interesting. He's real hard. You know what I'm saying? He's real street.
Exterior.
But, like, I mean, like, when
you get to know him as a person.
I mean, it's like he texted me, like, after the shoot, like thanking me and saying, like, that he had, a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like, it was real genuine. I would never put someone in the clothes that doesn't actually like them.
Man, I really fucking appreciate that. We don't get a lot of that nowadays, just in general. It's just, I feel like the industry is filled with a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
And, you know, like you said, there's a lot of times people are not even fucking with their clothes, but they're just going to, some pink dolphin, X unnamed, like, just wearing the clothes just for the check or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But there's a genuine aspect of it that you're trying to capture that's very overlooked these days.
Yeah. That was the right person to do the lookbook. I'm really glad that it came together. People don't realize it just came out, that lookbook. I've had it for like nearly 2 months.
Yeah, I remember when you first sent it to me. I mean, now we could talk about it a little bit more. Like, when you first sent it to me like a week or two ago, and like I told you, like, no bullshit, son. I was sitting, I never have my shirt on when I'm at home, but like I had my shirt off. I had my shirt off when I'm at home, and like my nipples like started getting a little erect, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, and even here you talk, I'm sitting here like getting chills when you're talking about this shit, man. Like, it's like shit like that. Like you can see like the passion. I mean, maybe we'll have to get like a little zoom action on one of these shots, but like there's just so much passion and just love for like what you do. And I feel like when you're starting a brand and when you're doing anything, like that's like the most important thing, because if the love isn't there, like if this is not your baby like 310%, then like you're not going nowhere, my G.
People always come up to me and like tell me how they want to start a brand because like they need to make money. And I always tell them, like, if you need to make money, don't start a brand, because that's the easiest way to lose money. I mean, like, I would have so much more money if I never started this brand. No doubt in my mind. Like, I really enjoy this stuff. Like, obviously, if the money comes with it, like, that's fucking awesome. But I promise you, like, I spent a shit ton on production for this collection. I mean, I'm making denim for the first time. Like, I go from like a really high point to being like dead broke when everything's in production. You know what I'm saying? And if no pieces sell, I guarantee that I still have a spring collection come out. And that's just because I'm going to hustle my fucking ass off, do whatever I have to do so that I can produce more clothes.
Fucking respect, man. All right. We're going to cut right there.
What do you want? What do you want? Good job. Yeah.
But, Zach, thank you for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Wrapping up here, let's plug your social medias and shit here. So, where can we follow you on the internets out there?
So I really would rather have people follow like the brand stuff than my personal, just because I don't really post anything on it. So
it's very bashful.
It's gonna be Ineffable INEFFABLE_co, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. And then if you search Ineffable on Facebook, it should pop up. And then the website is ineffableco.com.
And the collection is releasing when?
The first drop is November 13th.
Second drop is
December 11th.
Are there third and fourth, or there's two?
There's a January drop as well.
Ooh. Can you share with us what's dropping in this first collection? What are we excited for? Are we gonna get this beautiful flannel? No.
Yeah. So the first drop is hoodies and flannels. The second drop is the denim jackets, and then a pair of pants that wasn't in the lookbook. That I don't really know when I'm gonna post. Maybe like next week.
Whatever the fuck you feel.
But
like
it's a pair of wool pants that like are unique. Like nobody's done pants like that. But there's two pairs of pants in this collection, both of which nobody's really done.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third drop is the other pair of pants, and the orange suede bomber that's in the lookbook, and then like the other pair of pants that's in the third drop, they're jeans, except like there's a twist, which I can't say because someone like I promise to God once I do it, it will be an H&M, like it'll be a big thing. So that's why I can't.
Can we strike you down if we've seen this before?
No, you haven't.
Okay. He's saying that we haven't, folks. So any special shouts out to anybody that has been a contributor to the brand or your personal hustles or anything like that?
Shout out to the homie Ben. He's been with me since day one. Shout out to my homie Osama from Florida. Shout out to my girlfriend Isabella.
We love you too.
Facts.
All right, bro. Good looks. Appreciate you coming out here.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you later.
Y'all niggas got me hot.